I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm so excited because I'm going to be introducing you to abstract with a little bit of an amuse-bouche project. This is a taster, an introduction to some easy tools, techniques, and concepts. I'm only using 2 colors of paint, unless you want to sign with something fancy, and just regular tools, including a sponge. You're not going to believe how fun and easy and friendly this is. If you've ever wondered about abstract and wanted to give it a try, but felt a little bit overwhelmed by how these projects are put together, get your paint, get your brushes, get your sponge. Come back and meet me right now. I'm going to show you how to abstract. So one of the things that you can do when you're doing one of these pure abstracts is to lightly get your surface wet. I'm using a damp sponge. It has just enough water for me to feel the moisture, but I couldn't wring a drop out of it. But it's going to let me prepare the surface to have a very smooth, even paint application. I'm going to take a big brush. This is a very inexpensive brush, and I'm going to load it thoroughly with my white paint and paint this entire surface coated but wet white. When you're doing black and white abstracts, the nice thing about it is that you can focus on the elements of design and not end up in the trap of color before you're ready for it. If you've ever had an interest in doing abstract, I would highly suggest starting in the black and white range and work out your techniques and designs and form, and then get into color, because abstract is first design. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to sponge out, and you're going to love this technique, a bit of this black here. And I'm going to come right into the white, and it's really not important. I'm just loading and sponging. The white is wet. Sponge, 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 sponge. And you're like, wait, sponging in an abstract? No, it's going to be. You're going to love this background. This background actually works for a lot of things. It'll work for still lifes and different things where, you know, you need something diffused and unfocused. Be sure that your sponges are in water and not drying somewhere. I'm going to take a clean brush and I'm going to come across my canvas and just brush a blended back and forth of that sponged gray and white. And then when I have that, I'm going to wipe off this brush, and then I'm going to come against this and diffuse again another direction. Down, down, down. Now we have an out of focus background that doesn't give us any particular lines. It is nice to come across a couple of places and break up some of those focuses as an extra added layer of structure and texture. Now, if that wasn't fun enough, we're going to get, this is a hog brush, but it really isn't important what it is. And I'm going to get right into my black, and I'm going to come down into this corner, and I'm going to just push and wiggle. And I'm going to begin to create a weight that starts to happen down here. When I say weight, I mean this darkness against this lighter color will begin to pull your eye. Then I'm going to come up and maybe bring a line up. And then maybe in the middle here, I'll break up the structure of that line. See how I'm just wiggling the brush? Now we've got this weight happening here. The canvas is still wet. And I'm going to go like that off there. Now I may come back into this brush and take some of this off the surface, kind of continuing some of that line work that I had, and maybe even here as well. That's pretty fun. And then I'm going to get a tool called an artist knife. These don't need to be expensive or particularly anything. and I'm going to load some black paint onto it. You can say scrape and load. And I'm going to come up here and very lightly pull down a bit of color. Just black color, but a bit of color. And now I'm starting to create balance between those two objects. It is nice sometimes to also tap your knife in and create a bit of unexpected texture. And when I need to bring that off, I can do that. I can also come here and I've loaded a bead. And use this knife to create some very structural edges within the construct of the piece. This is where it starts to come together. It's just that black bead right there, and I'm dragging up, and the paint is wet, but I'm not breaking there. I'm going to wipe off my knife. Now, the strongest contrast on the piece tends to be the main focus where your eye will go. So I'm going to bring some of my pure black out. And this is about saving money and getting some art out there. So let's bring some of our white onto here very lightly. I'm going to add bits of this white. You can see how I've loaded it on the knife. And maybe right here in the middle of this stroke, that contrast. And there we have a gorgeous abstract for which we've used two colors and regular tools that we can get anywhere. You could use a kitchen sponge. Now let's go ahead and sign this. I'm going to do something I never do, but it's not unusual in abstracts to see this. I'm going to pick a red paint because either abstract artists don't sign at all or they sign in a way that adds another element. You could use white paint if you didn't like this. And I'm going to come right here and add my mark. So if you don't want people to be directed about the way to hang the abstract or to feel like you're telling them what side's up, sign on the back. If you're okay being bossy, go ahead and sign on the front. That is just a really fun abstract that anybody can do as a total beginner with just two colors. I cannot wait to see yours. I hope this made you a little bit more open-minded about the art form. Be good to yourself, be good to each other. And I want to see you at Anisa really soon. Bye-bye.